with Josh Ludman, who's going to be racing in England for the biggest team in the country. And Josh, you've been in Australia for 13 odd years now. And what are you now? 19, something like that?
Yeah, I turned 19 this year, so yeah.
Right.
19.
So, and I know from coming from Nowra, going to Europe, and as you did last year, you were there for 6 months or so, weren't you?
I was here this year for 3 months. I also did the Junior Tour of Ireland last year.
That's right. Yeah, I keep thinking it's 2024 already. It's not, but yeah, you were racing in the Netherlands and avoiding all the road furniture.
Yeah, bit of dodging going on, but yeah.
It is. So just give us an idea of how you got into bike racing. You explained to me earlier, going from gym work. When you say gym work, was it just lifting weights, or was it?
No, so I was a gymnast.
Gymnast.
So gymnastics.
Wow. So you were very flexible.
So I'd still try to keep myself up and prevent injuries on the bike. But yeah, so I quit gymnastics in 2019, so
Yeah.
4 years ago now. Started riding tail end of 2019.
Yeah.
Started racing just after COVID. And then got my lucky break last year. Got invited to do the Junior Tour of Ireland and a racing career.
Yeah. And you're
doing
doing National Road Series races here.
Yeah, and doing the NRS, and I did
Yeah.
went to Europe for 3 months and cut my teeth there.
Well, that's pretty cool because I did that when I was 19.
Yeah.
1979 I did it. And for a young guy, you were probably, 17, 18 when you went to the Junior Tour of Ireland?
I was 17, yeah. So
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
last year under 19. So yeah.
Yeah, so how did you handle going from, because I've done it,
Yeah.
but it's probably a lot more stressful now than it was back in the day. How did you handle going from a place like Nowra and the other places that you lived in over to Europe? Because it is a different world, isn't it?
It felt like a massive step up. I just took it day by day, and I still learn how to race here, and racing doesn't change that much. So
No, once you're on the bike and you're in a
Yeah.
bunch, a bunch is a bunch, peloton's a peloton.
A bunch is a bunch. So it was
Yeah.
just more of the same, but I'm just making sure I was doing the right things, being in the right place at the right time, choosing what wheels are the best,
Yeah,
and just trying to be
just get the
treated like
experience.
anything. Yeah, and it was an awesome experience to have after not being in the sport for that long, and I was really happy with my results. And
I was going to say, Junior Tour of Ireland, you did really well there. Well, you did. I did see some results that were good.
yeah, I did okay for what I'd consider okay.
Yeah.
I got 8th on GC.
Yeah, well,
Um,
that is okay.
8th on GC, and a couple good places on some stages. I was there with one of my mates who got 3rd on one of the stages, so we were happy to
Yeah.
get a podium one day and get a jersey. So yeah, it was an awesome tour.
And did that give you? Because when I went across there, I went through school here in Nowra, dreaming about riding the Tour de France.
Yeah.
And I realised when I came to England and was racing there that I was never going to be a pro. But was there a point during that Tour of Ireland you thought, yeah, I could make a career out of this?
I think one of the points was like all the team dinners that we had, and we were sitting around and just joking. And at one point, all the teams got together and we were just like sharing experiences, and
Yeah.
that feeling was just awesome. And I was just really wanted to push it because it's not just what you do on the bike; it's what you do off the bike as well.
Yeah.
I feel like,
Yeah.
and having that experience, I was like, I wanted to keep doing this and see.
He's
how
good
far
at the
I could go.
Australian wave, as you can see.
Keeping the flies off. But yeah.
Yeah. And then you did the thing in Europe this year
Yeah.
in the Netherlands. What was the thing about doing that? Because that can be tough.
It was just to see how I would go. As a
Yeah.
first year under 23, I was able to do all the open series.
Yeah.
In Belgium and all the criterions in the Netherlands.
Yeah. It's big strength of depth, isn't there?
It was just the level there. Over here, you've got maybe 1 or 2 guys that are just next level, but over the races over there, it was just every man and their dog was just pushing insane numbers and dropping the field, and it was a lot to take in and a lot to learn, but I feel like I'm better for it.
Yeah.
And my racecraft just has valued immensely from that experience.
So going to England, which is where you were born, down in Surrey.
Yeah.
What brought that on? What was the thought there? Because I know even going to an English-speaking country, that can be a big thing. Because I tell you, they are different worlds, Nowra and where I live.
Yeah, so the I'm a British citizen by birth, and I felt like the next logical move to be on a team that can help me progress.
Yes.
Luckily, I was fortunate enough to get a response from Ricky, and we started talks from there.
Yeah.
And so being back in England, which I haven't been back to since I moved over, just felt like the next move, being closer
So
to
it's
Europe.
13 years since you've been there.
Yeah, so I moved over in 2010, and I'll be
Yeah.
going back in 24, so it'll be just
14
around
years.
14 years
Yeah.
since I've left England. But being on a team, especially Sempran Uskis,
Yeah.
just feels like the next logical move, and being closer to Europe and being able to cut my teeth even more and see if I can get it to the next step and maybe realise Tour de France.
Well, looking at the signings that Ricky's making with the senior team and also the under-23 team, there's a huge amount of experience. So it's going to be a great learning experience for you. But it's also going to be a good way of physically testing yourself as well.
Definitely, yeah. Looking at some of the races we've got lined up, it should be a physically demanding year. And having the experience of especially the guys on the continental team and also our road captain, Rise Britain, around should, I think, help us both on and off the bike and be better bike riders all around.
You might just have to learn to understand Welsh with Reese. But yourself, just give an idea of how you're training here, because yesterday you had your long ride. Did you go where you say where you're going?
So on 2 days ago, I did a big ride up through the mountains, which we're blessed to have here. I don't know how it's going to be where I'm going to be living in England, but it was 3,000 meters of vert in 150 k's. So,
well, let me just tell you, I spoke to a Welshman called Julian Wynn, and Julian, hello, if you hear this, and he rode the Commonwealth Bank Classic, which came over Camberwara, and I told him that was the big climb for me, and he said, "Oh no, it's nothing."
That's nothing. To me, it's everything. But I'm sure as soon as I get over to Europe and do some proper climbs in France and Spain, I'll probably know what a proper climb is.
So what, Camberwara and Barangara, etc., how long are they? Because the proper climbs in Europe can be an hour long.
Yeah, so around here, a proper climb for us, unless you're willing to go to the Alps, the Alpine region, I should say, is about 20-30 minutes long, depending on the pace you're going. But they're about 6Ks at 6-7%.
Oh, right.
So pretty short compared to some of the big ones.
Well, I always thought they were quite long myself, but there you go.
So
I was never a climber. You look more like a goat than I did, even though I was like you when I was a teenager. So when are you heading over?
Haven't decided a date yet, but it's looking like it'll be February and March after our nationals in early January. So I'll do that.
All right. So you're heading to Ballarat to.
Yeah, so heading down to Ballarat on the 4th of January to race on the 7th in the Under-23 Nationals. And then I'll have a bit of a break and then start to peak.
You've done
again.
those before?
I did my first year this year. Managed to get around.
That's quite a tough little circuit, that Buninyong or...
Buninyong, yeah. So you have a Buninyong climb and then you go around the uni circuit. It hit 38 degrees this year and the road started melting, so... hopefully there's none of that in England.
So you'll probably go well in Italy and Spain where it's hot.
Yeah.
Because I don't think we ever have those sort of temperatures in England very often. I think it hit 40 degrees a couple of years ago, and that was a record, and they didn't stop talking about it for a month afterwards. But and just give us an idea of the racing in Nowra, your development, how you actually managed to progress from starting out here up to a point where you thought, well, I could, you were telling me earlier about how you won a race and think, I could do well here.
Yeah, so just after COVID, I did my second ever criterium, and I managed to get away up the road.
Was that here?
That was in Nowra here, so...
was that on the Flinders estate or the Albatross estate?
The Albatross Take Park
one,
circuit. So I managed to get away and get my first ever road criterium win, and I was hooked from then. I just loved that feeling across
There's
the
nothing like winning a bike race, is there?
No, nothing like it, especially here. And then I kept going to the end of 2020, and just natural progression, riding your bike more, learning along the way, like to eat more and all the logical things that go along with it. Eventually managed to get up and do my first ever open series racing here, so against under 23 elites, and basically anyone can enter the race.
They're very different here, isn't it? Because you have the club racing, which is just locals, and then you have the opens, which, from what I understand from Doug, you guys, there's quite a few of you guys who do a lot of opens and actually don't do that much club racing.
Yeah, we try to do some club racing, but the Opens is a lot more inviting with bigger fields and tougher fields.
But also a lot more travelling.
And a lot more travelling. So for nationals, we'll drive about 12, 13 hours. That's about a normal drive. I just got back from the Tour of the Sunshine Coast, which was another 15-hour drive up north.
Yeah, I'll be doing that one.
What else have we done this year? Drove down to Gippsland, which was another 10-hour drive. So big drives are pretty normal around here.
Yeah, and that you mentioned that one at Noosa. I just want to make the guys back home jealous, because that was actually a stage race, wasn't it?
Yeah, so it was a 4-day, 5 stages.
Because that's something that England or Britain, British racing needs. Stage races like that.
So it was an awesome stage race. The organisation was amazing. We had a nighttime criterium. We had a road race during the day. We had an uphill time trial. It was just, you wouldn't read about it, but it was an awesome race. And it would definitely be nice to see some of that implemented in England.
And finally, you've also got a brother that races too.
Yeah, so my younger brother's just starting, but he's a bit taller and a bit bigger than me, so all of our coaches wanted to push him onto the track and see how he can go on there.
Yeah. And you've got a coach, have you, or not?
Yeah, I've got a local coach.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so Damien Mason.
All right.
Used to race and was a full-time coach, and now he coaches me. Awesome dude and very into the science of coaching. So instead of quantity and quality, it's more about making sure specificity is all you need.
Structured.
So I'm hitting my peaks when I need to, tapering off and not burning out.
I was going to say, you need to, during the winter, because the seasons over in Europe are quite long.
Yeah.
From February, March, right through to September, October. So, you don't want to be burned out before you go.
No, so I have a little break, but hopefully we won't burn out too quickly in the season. But
No, great chatting, Joshua.
Yeah.
And look forward to seeing you doing the National Series races in England and in Britain, and also heading over to Europe and mixing it with the guys like Harry Tanfield and Charlie Tanfield, etc. in the senior team, who are great guys.
Yeah.
It's a great team.
Yeah, race against Charlie in one race in the Netherlands, but can't wait.
All right.